The diner is open for business. And for those wondering, what? Episode 1? What are you talking about? Look, I'd been wanting to rebrand for a while, and since Trump did win the election, that means I can't cancel the Burgers and Fries podcast on this channel. So yay us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
But let's just give it a soft rename. Thus, that's right. Thus, instead of it being called Burgers and Fries with a shake, I am now going to call it Burgers and Fries at the Diner. And for the sake of continuity, let's just call this one Episode 1 of Burgers and Fries at the Diner. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good.
And I'm glad it's not called Boogers and Cum.
See, and I want to do things a little bit differently. It's still going to be some of the same people, and we're still going to be talking a lot about the same kind of topics. But, and this time, let's release it in a long form episode for those who love their car trips, or in my case, my long truck routes. But I'll also release clip highlights from episodes for those with short attention spans, and might attract a couple more ears. So here we go. Burgers and Fries at the Diner. Of course, we love to talk mainly pop culture, entertainment, music, and sometimes politics too. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Desert Coyote 22. You can call me Anthony if you wish. Now with me on this edition, we have the Minnesota man who is absolutely thrillered his governor won't become vice president, and it's ThrillerWolf, aka Greg. How you doing today?
Doing good.
So are you thrilled?
Yep, I'm thrilled that the FAP is now going to be the vice president of the United States.
That's right. No, I'm absolutely.
And what I mean by FAP,
go ahead, say that again.
And what I mean by FAP is he's a fat ass pussy.
Oh, man, they were the ones calling him Tampon Tim, remember?
Oh yeah. Either way.
Now, we also have the Kansas Brony who is saving the world from shitty movies before his bedtime. It's Mr. Pat 55, also known as Pat. How you doing, Pat?
Great. I'm just glad this election thing is over.
Oh, man. Now, the two of you were there in that last podcast episode. And yes, I'm going to admit, I went in there with a full head of steam, ready to be scorched earth because of why somebody was voting for a certain someone. Not because of who, but because of why. But I'm sure the two of you were just entertained and you just got to sit back and eat popcorn while I got to yell at the guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And no, he's not banned. He will eventually be back when he can. But, of course, we also have the Indiana rocker who is bringing sexy back to punk and vinyl. It's Purplish Rain, a.k.a. DJ. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Bringing sexy back for all y'all motherfuckers.
That's right.
Far out.
Just go to Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein.
No. Come on. Who did
What?
What?
Damn. He just called me the Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein of Indiana.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, goodness gracious. Greg, who did the song Bringing Sexy back?
Justin Timberlake.
Okay, so you're not totally off the rails there.
Man, poor DJ.
Man. Oh, DJ can handle it. He's a punk rocker. He's used to taking it.
It's funny.
All right. And, Pat, you said earlier, like, you're really just happy that this election cycle is over. Guys, I got to ask you, quickly, what are your thoughts on how the election transpired?
I was hanging on the edge of my seat. I was like praying and hoping that Donald Trump would pull it off. And thanks to God's grace, he managed to pull it off and win by a landslide.
Well, I was kind of hoping for Minnesota to become a red state, but it didn't happen.
I'll admit I didn't really have like as much of a dog in this race as like maybe some of you guys. There was a part of me that thought it would go kind of 50-50, like either way. It kind of surprised me like how badly like Trump beat Kamala in a sense.
But Rain, you're a punker. You've told me that in your circle of punk friends, where do their political alliances lie?
So I mean, a lot of punk rock guys, they're very left leaning, but they're left leaning to the point where they even hate the big name political Democrats. Like they even hate them because they feel like they're just corporate shills.
That's what you were
Most-
telling me too. You were telling me like among all of your Democrat lefty friends, even they were not really wanting to vote for Kamala either.
No, and a lot. Truth be told, a lot of them didn't. A lot of the punk rockers I know are pro Palestine, and they said the fact that she wasn't that she was still like very pro Israel and said like nothing's gonna change. They were like, why would we vote for that person? We didn't even like Joe Biden.
She was caught releasing ads, one ad that said that was pro-Israel, the other ad that said that was pro-Palestine.
Yeah. And a lot of my friends like kind of just find that disingenuous. They want authenticity, and they're not fans of Trump either. And because they don't really like a lot of like some of the moral stuff with him, but a lot of them admit like at least he's not gonna bullshit.
So yeah, just very interesting. And then one of the things that happened over the last 3 weeks, ever since the election, is that a lot of these celebrities who endorse Kamala have just been having meltdowns, whether they say it on screen or on social media. So Pat, Greg, have you seen all this stuff?
Yes, and one of
Yep.
them being Ellen DeGeneres' movie to the United Kingdom.
Yeah, and then Rob Reiner was like gonna check himself into some mental health facility.
Oh God, we're gonna get to that one too. But back to Ellen. Now it's funny about Ellen thinking, "Oh, I got to get away from a place of hate." Ellen is not that good of a person. She is one of the worst reputable people to work for, apparently.
Especially when one of her co-helpers were autistic, and she says, "Don't say hello to anyone."
Yeah, it's many people who have come out and said, "No, she's a terrible person to be around and is a terrible person to work for." So
Wait. She said that to autistic people?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
that's it's something to look up. I'm not entirely sure if that is true or not off the top of my head, but her saying, "Oh, I'm just going to move to England," like, okay, good riddance. Nobody in this country really wanted you in here anyway, and it has nothing to do with her orientation. She's just a shitty person.
Yeah.
Yep. Say that as goodbye, cunt.
Exactly.
Yep.
The one thing I could like add to that, slightly unrelated, but I think it's funny. There was a petition when all that shit came out about Ellen like 4 or 5 years ago. There was a petition to get Eric Andre to replace her like as the host of the Ellen DeGeneres show, but they weren't going to change the name. So it was just going to be the Ellen DeGeneres show, but it's going to be hosted by Eric Andre full time. I thought that was funny.
That's oh my God, that's fucking stupid. Oh.
I would have loved it. That would have been funny.
Actually, Eric Andre sounds like the kind of guy who would have totally been in on the joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think he even shared it too.
Oh yeah, welcome to the Fubar Makalaka Foob show, hosted by me. So one of them, of course, that just really started talking shit about people who didn't vote for her side was, of course, your favorite, Greg, Cardi B.
Well, I'll put it this way: when she said about the whole, you want to know why you red states in Florida always getting hurricanes because you voted for the wrong people. I would just walk up to that bitch and say, I have relatives living in Florida. You know that?
I have relatives living in Florida. Like, so many people do. Like, why she would say something so despicable like that. Now, of course, one of the other people that just had a total meltdown on national fucking TV, of all places, is Jimmy Kimmel. And if you were to say that like 20 years ago, if you were to tell the guy who hosted the Man Show he was going to cry over a fucking woman losing an election, like, man, times change, I guess. So I'm going to play this bit from the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
But the rest was not great. Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country.
Can you hear it, guys?
Yes.
For healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security.
Oops, sorry.
For our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet. And most of all, it was an absolute disaster of a night for Melania. But it was a really good night for Putin and for polio and for lovable billionaires like Elon Musk and the bros up in Silicon Valley and all the wriggling brainworms who sold what was left of their souls to bow down to Donald Trump. But you know what?
Yeah. Okay.
Shit.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, bad night for who exactly? Terrible for immigrants. You mean for legal immigrants? Not really. Legal immigrants are not in danger of being deported.
You don't say.
Yeah, terrible for women. Last I checked, a huge chunk of women voted for Trump. And I have to ask, like, what rights exactly did they get taken away?
That's being taken away by trans women.
Yeah, and that was during the Biden administration when the Title IX stuff got fucked up.
Jimmy Kimmel, he being the guy that says, "Oh, I respect women and all that. I feel sad that we never got a woman president." You mean the same women you didn't respect on the Man Show?
Yeah. I mean, I get that people can change over 20 years, but yeah, imagine that guy from 20 years ago is now crying on national TV because Kamala didn't get elected.
Pandering at its core.
And I was also going to say this about Cardi B. So it's wrong when you see anime girls with big boobs and big butts and all that, and people will say, "Oh, that's degrading to women," but WAP isn't.
Yeah, like she should be lecturing us on who exactly to vote for. And again, he mentioned terrible for children. How is it terrible for children when most of the country opposes gender affirming care for minors? He said it was terrible for free speech. Wait a minute. Which side is actively trying to get the other side censored because they don't want their ideas challenged?
The liberals.
Now, I think it's different, DJ, in the punk circle, right? Punks are still about freedom of expression, no matter which political side, right?
Pretty much for the most part. It's kind of like just as long as you're not like a literal Nazi punk, which I mean you don't really see that a whole lot anymore. It was more of a thing that was in the 80s, but it's kind of more like you don't fuck with me, we don't fuck with you kind of a thing.
Nazi
don't
punk?
Be a dick. Yeah, way back in the day, there used to be some white supremacist punk rock bands. Right, DJ?
Yeah. Yep, and maybe there's still some pockets out, but a lot of them have been snuffed out pretty much.
Yes, I'm for freedom of speech, but thing is like, no, I don't think there should be any white supremacist bands being promoted. Again, he says it was a terrible night for poor people. Poor people voted for Trump because they felt like he's going to handle the economy better. It must be nice to say that from the comforts of his own $1 million home and his high paying job, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And did he kind of one time talk down to his son? When he kind of made that speech about you don't take the vaccine, be on the street, oh Wheezy or something.
He did say that. That's right. That was one of his opening monologues during the pandemic. Basically, like hospitals are trying to figure out who to admit, and it's not hard for me. Vaccine, come on in. Didn't take the vaccine. You took horse goo. Oh, go away, Wheezy. That's what he said.
Jeez,
He actually said that?
Oh, absolutely. It is on one of his opening monologues, and I actually played a clip of it in an old video I did during the pandemic when I talked about should you take the vaccine or should you not.
I didn't.
Oh.
You know, and he calls it a good night for big tech billionaires. No, most of them sided with Democrats. Like Facebook, Google, YouTube, they side with Kamala. So it's not a good night for big tech billionaires. No. Anyway, so now I got to bring up, and then this is definitely somebody you would love hearing about, Greg. It's Rachel Zegler.
Oh.
So I am going to.
You mean the one that's supposed to star in that Disney live action remake that must not be mentioned that Disney's afraid to promote now?
Didn't they play trailers of that before Wicked and Moana?
Yes.
No.
Yes, and as I do recall,
not in my theater anyway.
Your theater's smart then.
And,
yes.
And as I do recall, that the plot is going to be the prince is going to be saved by the princess.
It is what it is, but exactly, that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to draw crickets. Now I'm going to read Rachel Zegler's Instagram post. All right, and feel free to react. Ready? I find myself speechless in the middle of this. Another 4 years of hatred leaning us towards a world I do not want to live in. Leaning us towards a world that would be hard to raise my daughter in. Leaning us towards a world that would force her to have a baby she doesn't want. Leaning us towards a world that is fearful. Oh my goodness.
Okay, one, bitch, you're obsessed with hate. And two, what daughter are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't think she has a daughter, does she?
No. She's too young to have a daughter.
Yeah, I don't think Rachel Zegler has a daughter. So what daughter is she talking about, right, Greg?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if she has sex with the director of the film.
Oh, speaking of the sex strike, what are your thoughts on these idiots that are like, oh, to protest the Trump voters, I'm going to shave my head and not have sex with them?
All I have to say is, good. I don't have to fuck you then.
Y'all were the ugly ones anyway.
That's right. DJ, you just said it on the head. And the way I see it, it's like, yeah, that's less idiots procreating. So they're doing exactly what people on the right would want them to do, which is not have promiscuous sex and procreate and risk needing to get an abortion. It's fucking idiots.
And not to mention a risk of getting STDs from them.
That too. But yeah, less procreation equals less babies getting murdered. That's a win-win situation.
Yep.
So reading Rachel's post, I shouldn't be this shocked, but I am. I'm heartbroken for my friends who awoke fear this morning, and I'm here with you to cry, to yell, to hug, to wax poetic on how the left continues to fall us in forging a new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. What do they have to be fearful about?
Whatever is going on in their heads.
I guess so.
You and your friends are rich. Y'all will be fine.
Yeah, really.
They're fine because they're rich, but we had to deal with the bullshit.
Champagne socialism for me, not for you.
Yeah.
And I could just tell Rachel to get fucked by either Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein.
I think you just did.
P. Diddy.
Oh,
that could be worse.
Speaking of all the people that supported Kamala, is all the people who went to P. Diddy parties. Wow, amazing how that worked. And back to Rachel. I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Great job, Rachel. And again, when she faced a lot of backlash over it, rightfully so, she had to say this apology in return. So I'm going to now read this apology. Hi, everyone. I'd like to sincerely apologize for the election post I shared on my Instagram last week. I let my emotions get the best of me. Hatred and anger have caused us to move further and further away from peace and understanding, and I'm sorry I contributed to the negative discourse. This week has been emotional for so many of us, but I firmly believe that everyone has the right to their opinion, even when it differs from my own. I'm committed to contributing positively towards a better tomorrow. Yeah, where was this belief that everyone has the right to their opinion when you were the one wishing no peace for Trump supporters, bitch?
Yeah.
That kind is fake as Kim Kardashian's tits and ass.
Oh my God. And Pat would know this, Greg would know this. It's like every time this bitch opens her mouth when promoting the live action Snow White, it caused more and more people to turn away from Disney and any hope of that movie succeeding. She is someone that somehow magically causes Disney to lose money every time she promotes their work. Now, I'm pretty sure it was someone from Disney who told her, "You better apologize. We can't take this shit from you anymore." So now the next one we're going to be talking about, it's Rob Reiner. So, I mean, what this guy ended up doing in response, like, it just shows you how much of a loony he is. So all of these people just announce, oh yeah, I'm going to leave Twitter because it has become such, such a place of hate now. No, it became more of a level playing field since Elon Musk bought it. But since the playing field is more level and the opposing views are not banned, these loonies are like, oh, there's so much hate on Twitter. I just can't bear being around it.
It sounds like my liberal aunts.
Oh, these are horrible people. These are racist. These are full of hate. No, they just have differing views than you do.
Since when did I don't know, different viewpoints count as hate?
I really don't know. It's just something that they easily say that. And thank God that DJ is in a circle of friends who are not like that. You have an opposing viewpoint. It's not considered hate amongst the punk view. And the metalheads are not the same way like that either. A lot of metalheads are lefties, but they don't act like that.
Right.
But a lot of them fled to Blue Sky, which many say is essentially it's Twitter from 2017, along with posts that Greg showed me where pedos just seem to be saying anything that they want for free. In fact, I got to bring this one up. Somebody on Blue Sky just said, the map community deserves the same love and respect as all communities. Acts of hate and persecution against any marginalized group is unacceptable. No, you people are attracted to children. You people try to have sex with children. You should not get the same love and respect as any community.
If they're talking about love and respect as like a shovel to the head, I agree.
There you go. That's the kind of love and respect I would love to give to maps. Absolutely. But of course we had Rob Reiner, and he is among many who said, oh, I'm leaving Twitter. I'm going to go to Blue Sky.
What a meathead.
Yeah, really. But I also remember, Greg, back in 2020, when the cutie shit was happening, anybody who called out people who supported cuties for being, pedo enabling, they were getting their account suspended for calling it out.
Didn't know that. I didn't know about that part.
So, God damn it. So that's the place that these people want to flee to? Is something like that? No. And ever since that meathead moved over to Blue Sky, one of the first things he kind of did was he actually tried to sound kind of reasonable. He said, I don't like Trump, but we still have to accept the results and move on. We got to learn to cope. And the people on Blue Sky dogpiled him and attacked him for saying that.
Jeez.
But again, and because of this, Rob Reiner was saying posts, all the abuse and hate from Twitter has spewed over to here. There seems to be no point anymore. This platform is vile, racist, and evil. It didn't take long for MAGA scum to spread their lies. It's not MAGA scum that was calling him out for saying he should accept the results of the election. What the fuck is he talking about?
I have no idea.
Oh my God. So then he finally says, well, I've made the decision to take the next few days to check into a facility for peace and relaxation. No phone, social media, no trolls, just calmness to heal my pain. Oh my God. God damn, no. In the punk and metal world, we would basically be saying, grow balls, you pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, meathead, grow up.
Exactly. Like, if this doesn't
At
indicate...
least that's what Archie would say on All in the
and
Family
I can say that
if he
the
were
same thing
still
with
around
the
today.
analysis community.
What'd you say, Greg?
I can say the same thing to the bronies of the broanalysis community.
What?
Analysis
Were
community.
they causing problems?
Let's just say Two I know of, they did not take the 2024 election lightly. And
Well, then they're not my pals.
I don't like who got elected. Life sucks. I need to check myself into a luxury health spa for a week to make me feel better.
and
So much. Oh, goddamn! You brought this up the other day. What did you hear about this cruise for Trump derangement syndrome people, Pat?
Oh, yeah, I read about it somewhere online. And I was like recommending it to you know who to book the cruise. Wait, is it true they actually plan on living on those cruise ships and want to escape the United States for the next 4 years?
Well, that's what we're talking about. Like, oh, you want to live on this cruise ship for the next 4 years? Well, you can only do that if you have enough money. So yeah,
But where are they gonna go?
All over. Like they'll probably go all over the planet to different ports.
Might as well go to Timbuktu.
Yeah, it really must be nice for all these champagne socialists to have all that money so that they can just go on a cruise for the next 4 years to not be in the country. Like, so much for being about the party of the working class, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I guess as long as they got money, I mean, I don't see why they can't do that.
Right, they can do whatever they want with it, but it goes against everything that they preach. Oh God! So here's one from Jamie Lee Curtis. So the results are in.
Oh no, her too.
So I'm reading this one. This was her Instagram post. So the results are in. Many will be celebrating, possibly even gloating over the victory. Many will be stunned and sad with the terrible feelings of the loss. That's the same result despite who wins, because that's what America and democracy looks like, has always looked like. Okay, fair enough. But then let's see what she says next. So what does it mean? It means a sure return to more restrictive, some fear draconian time. What? When were things more restrictive under Trump in his first term?
Maybe she's referring to all the blame that she put on Trump for, COVID restrictions.
Possibly, even though it was the other side that imposed the restrictions. Trump's side was trying to get rid of the restrictions. Anyway, so many fear their rights will be impeded and denied. Many minority groups and young people will be afraid. Not really, because a lot of minorities and young people actually sided with Trump more this time than they did the last time.
Yeah, what am I, chopped liver?
She goes on to say, gay and trans people will be more afraid.
You mean the same gay people that also voted for Trump?
We know that many women will now find it difficult to get the reproductive health care that they need and deserve.
If she's talking about Roe v. Wade getting overturned, I mean, that was during her side's presidency when that happened.
Yeah, her side had every opportunity to make that the law of the land, and they never did it over the last 50 years. So now abortion rights are left up to the states. So if one state is more restrictive, great. You can go to another state where it's less restrictive and get what you want to get. Yeah, I know it's a touchy subject, but the rights have not been taken away. There was no federal abortion ban that's going to happen. But then again, you have Christina Applegate. She's
From
going
Bad Moms.
Oh, Married with Children, baby.
Yep.
Christina Applegate was the one who said, please unfollow me if you voted against female rights. But against disability rights, yeah, that. Unfollow me because what you did is unreal. Don't want followers like this. So yeah, after today, I'll be shutting down this fan account that I've had for many years because this is sick.
Disability rights. Where were you when I had to put up with ableist teachers at my first year of college?
I don't know if she had MS then. Who knows? But these are just some of the celeb posts that have gone around. It's been an insane meltdown from some of these people. But, I mean, final thoughts on that part, guys?
Was there anyone from Pedro Pedoscal?
I'm sure there was.
Wait,
but
he's a pedophile?
No.
Well, there's a reason why I call him that, along with Josh Gad or Josh Pedode, because they have sympathy for the domestic abuser and child molester that were shot by Kyle Rittenhouse.
Right.
It's sad because I was actually looking forward to seeing him play Mr. Fantastic in the upcoming Fantastic Four film, but now knowing that he has sympathy for pedophiles kind of makes me a little nervous now.
Oh, you're going to see it. We know you're going to see it. Anyway, guys,
Obviously.
Okay, yeah. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears, and it's time for At the Movies with Pat.
Yep.
All right. So
Thank you.
So the two movies we're going to be talking about now. So Pat, you saw the movie Wicked on the big screen. I have to ask you first, did you ever see the musical?
Unfortunately, I did not. I never had the chance.
Never saw the musical. DJ, you've seen the musical, right?
Yep. I saw it when I was about 11 or 12 when it came to the Aronoff in Cincinnati.
Okay, and I've seen it twice, back with my ex-wife at the time, years ago. But again, it is a fantastic play. That's probably one of my favorite versions of Wizard of Oz, period. Just the story that they told, and the music in it is awesome. So nothing really bad to say against the musical. So what did you think of the movie Wicked, Pat?
It was amazing. It did not disappoint at all. The music was great. The characters were great. Just a good time. And I'm honestly cannot wait for part 2. And unfortunately, it doesn't come out till next November of next year, which sucks, but whatever.
I know what you can do to get so you know what happens in the second part.
Yeah, you told me before the podcast I should see a Broadway tour or something.
Yeah, if you have a chance to see the show, see it.
I will be sure to do that.
You absolutely should. When I saw the musical at one of the times I saw it in San Diego, Nicole Parker was the one who played Elphaba, and she was a featured actress on Mad TV. I have to ask you, what was your favorite song that you remember from this movie?
Oh, gosh, I would have to say Defying Gravity.
I'm sure it is an absolute showstopper with the visual effects, but even in the show, it's the high point of the show. When you get to that song, the practical effects that they did with that song, I'm actually getting chills down my spine thinking of it. It's that good.
Yeah, well, see, what's interesting is this film kind of makes you feel like you are watching the Broadway musical. Even if you have seen it, makes you experience it all over again. You get some nostalgia feels for it. I would definitely recommend going and seeing this if you haven't already. Go see it. You will not be disappointed.
Well, if I get the chance to, I will, absolutely. So I also have, before we go on to the next one, I have to ask you, what did you think about the morons who got all butthurt when they changed the movie poster so to make it look more like the show?
But I know there was some controversy around it, around the film, that is. There was some marketing merchandising, I think on the back of one of the dolls, it was advertising for some
that's
adult
right.
porno site or
Yeah,
something.
I heard about
That's
that.
right. They put they put wicked.com on the packaging, and it led to a huge spike in people going to that porn site. Oh.
I just like to know what were the parents' reactions when their little girls saw the back of the box.
I would have thought it was an innocent, because who thinks wicked.com is a porn site? I didn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that either.
I mean, truth be told, I already knew about that, but it's still crazy that didn't get fact checked or anything. They didn't check that on the box before it went out.
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta be incompetent morons.
Yeah, what are they going to do now? What if they make a movie called Victoria's Secret? All of a sudden they put a victoriassecret.com on the back of the packaging?
Yeah, that'll be the day.
Yeah.
There's one other controversy I want to mention. I think the actress who played Alphaba, she was saying behind the scenes, said something about like how she got butthurt because of some poster and told people not to go see her movie or something.
Why would she tell
Yes.
people not to go see her movie? And first of all, that's the thing I'm talking about with the poster. Because she took it as a racist thing. I'm like, no, they were just making the poster look more like the show's playbill.
Yeah, I don't get what racism has anything to do with a poster.
But they thought that, oh, we're hiding Elphaba's face in the movie poster. No, they're not. They were just, it was just a simple fan tribute. That's all it was. But anyway, the next movie in this segment of At the Movies with Pat, you literally just saw this 4 hours ago. What were your thoughts on Moana 2?
It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as much as the first film. I honestly don't understand why people wouldn't like it. Maybe they thought it was like a rip-off of the first film, but I just don't see that. I think they definitely explored a lot more territory across the ocean in this one. Like, I love that.
I did like the first Moana, and I thought the songs were good, story was fine. Dwayne Johnson as Maui was good. So I'm definitely certain that I would see Moana 2. Any other thoughts on it?
Well, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is great as always as Maui, and the actress who plays Moana is still great. I think the only one character I did not like was the girl that tagged along with her team. Like, she was like kind of there just to like be like trying to destroy things, and it felt like she was a detriment to the mission at first, but then they kind of redeemed her at the end.
All right. Sounds good to me. So now we're going to be talking in this last segment, we're going to be going over separating the art from the artist. This is stuff that all of you wanted to be talking about. So now, again, this is mainly having to talk about the ability as a fan or the inability to separate the work from the actor or the musician, especially when the person in question has done some horrible things. And we can all find examples when it comes to actors, sports stars, musicians, pretty much anyone famous. And yes, because of the serious nature of the topics, if you're listening, discretion is advised. But I'm going to start. Very recently, Beetlejuice 2 came out. So very briefly, Pat, what did you think of Beetlejuice 2?
I loved it. Like, I saw it I probably saw it several times. I thought it was as great, if not maybe better than the first film. Um, it's just a blast to watch. Although I don't get like why they had to like try to shoehorn in like Jeffrey Jones's like cameo. Like, I know it's not really him playing his character from the first film, but I feel like they kind of took it too far by trying to like mock him, just because of what he did behind the scenes. Like, you could have just like written him out of the film and it wouldn't serve much purpose, there'd be no difference.
True, but Beetlejuice itself is a dark comedy, so they were trying to handle it in a dark comedy kind of a way. But you obviously know what Jeffrey Jones got in trouble for, right?
Yeah, he was I guess a child molester or a pedophile.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know about molester, but he solicited and was basically in possession and solicited CSA material, and now because of that, he's a registered SO. So yeah,
But
that's one thing I want.
pretty much my only complaint with the film. Like, I felt like we could have done without him. Like,
It makes it very clear that this movie does not like Jeffrey Jones. And I think other people who know the situation probably would have just gotten a little chuckle out of it, essentially because you get to see his character in claymation get eaten by a shark.
I mean, I did enjoy that part. But it felt like, they were just trying to remind us of what was missing from the film. And it kind of felt embarrassing.
Yeah, I loved it too. It says, it is exactly what I expected it to be. But again, speaking of Jeffrey Jones, and we pretty much already revealed what happened. It's not really a major plot point because this basically begins the plot of the movie. But yeah, they pretty much show that they don't like Jeffrey Jones because of him now being a pedophile creep. But the problem with Jeffrey Jones is he's been in so many movies from the 80s and the 90s, some of the most well-known movies of the time. Like he was the Emperor in Amadeus,
which I just recently saw. It was great.
Yeah, it's one of the best movies of all time. He was also the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was in
that was a great movie.
He was in multiple Tim Burton movies, especially the first Beetlejuice.
Really?
Yes, he was the first Beetlejuice. He was in Ed Wood. He was in Sleepy Hollow. He was in many comedies from the 90s. So
I guess I'm gonna have to go watch those.
Now, yeah, they came out before people knew what a pedo creepy was, but I want to say that yes, for me, somebody who sexually exploits a minor is right up there in terms of things I can't forgive. But anytime I have to go back and watch a movie he's in, I feel like I have no choice but to separate the art from the person, or just kind of pretend that he didn't do it, even though I know he did. So it sucks because he plays a big role in a lot of these old movies. Anyway, so if you're listening, like I'm sure you can think of one person what disgusting act they got in trouble for, but because of some nostalgic attachment to the piece of media, you kind of have to do the same. So anyone would like to add anything?
Yeah, I got one. Chris Savino, John Crick-Falusi, Kevin Spacey.
There you go.
Bill Cosby.
Well, I hated Ren and Stimpy before I found out John K was a pedo creep. Now I can never watch it again.
You didn't like Ren and Stimpy?
It was my least favorite of all the Nicktoons.
I mean, I probably remember watching one episode, but I haven't since then gone and revisited. I mean, I might.
Well, and again, you just wrote in Bill Cosby. Like, remember, I can remember way back in the day, Bill Cosby was everywhere. You could not go anywhere without seeing the Cosby Show on TV. It was always on reruns.
Yeah.
And someone just pointed out that the trial of him seemed to be rushed or something. And someone I used to work with, she told me that Bill Cosby did say this, that if I was doing these horrible things to you, then why do you keep coming back to me?
When I went to trucking school, when I got my permit, the instructor told us, like, if you're on the road, you need to relieve stress and boredom, you should listen to music. And he admitted that he will still play R. Kelly despite fully knowing what he's currently in prison for.
I was going to add Seth MacFarlane, but he hasn't exactly gotten himself in trouble with the law. But I was just going to put him there because of his religious political views, but I don't know if I should.
Well, we can touch up a little bit on that one. But DJ, who would you like to add to this mix?
So I'm just going to straight up admit right now, when it comes to separating the art from the artist, I am hella inconsistent. I'm just going to point that out there because there's some artists that like I kind of feel icky about listening to, but then there are some artists that maybe have done similar things that I'm all right listening to. And y'all know me as a punk guy, like I'm really into punk, but I also have a deep love for 50s rock and roll. And I mean, a lot of that is arguably the origin of punk as well. If any of you guys listening ever want to look into the personal lives of a lot of 50s rock stars, 70% of the time you're going to find something that's slightly fucked up. And I'll go ahead and kind of admit the big one, Jerry Lee Lewis. I was aware of Great Balls of Fire and A Whole Lot of Shaking when I was really young. But when you ask your average person about Jerry Lee Lewis, the first thing that they're going to think of is the fact that, well, he married his 13-year-old cousin right at the height of his fame. And he pretty much, and probably deservedly so, lost like his whole career. Like he got canceled before getting canceled was a thing. And so,
Basically what that movie about him was about, the one that starred Dennis Quaid and Alec Baldwin and Winona Ryder.
yep. Yep. And I mean, that was a true story. I'll bring up another guy, Chuck Berry. You would not have rock the way it is now if it weren't for a guy like Chuck Berry. Innovative guitar player, just monumental to the development of rock. But he, in 1959, he got arrested for transporting a minor across state lines. And then also the infamous Piss tapes, which is kind of funny that you bring up R. Kelly. Chuck Berry also had Piss tapes too. So, I mean, there's definitely some degeneracy there.
Does Michael Jackson count?
Oh, he could count. He
can absolutely count, given that he was on trial twice for what he was found not guilty for. I mean,
probably didn't spill Macaulay right.
What's wrong with Macaulay Culkin?
I'm gonna say I think once he got to be a teen, he had some drug problems.
Yeah, but he's didn't really do any of the things that DJ here is mentioning about Chuck Berry and R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll let him finish.
I'll bring up Elvis. Again, a lot of people maybe want to bring up like, oh, he stole from black people, which that's a separate discussion on its own. That's one I will debate on. But the one thing I won't debate on is the fact that, you know, he was romantically interested in Priscilla when she was a 14-year-old. Like, that's pretty fucking weird. I love Elvis, though. Like, Elvis, top 5 artist for me. And, you know, the other 2 guys I mentioned, I have their autographs, but it's like, I admit, like, I will still listen to that music even though they did these horrendous things. But I will not listen to Lost Prophets because of the stuff that Ian Watkins did.
I don't even think his music is even played anymore. I think all the bandmates all just completely shed the Lost Prophets identity, and they went on to do another project without him.
Yeah, they've pretty much been erased, but still, like, I won't listen to them. But maybe I'm a hypocrite in the sense, like, I won't listen to them, but I'll still listen to Jerry Lee, and I'm willing to admit that. I also will not really listen to Anti-Flag much. And Anti-Flag, they were kind of a staple in the 90s and 2000s punk scene. Very much a socially, politically aware, I guess you could call it like a woke band. The lead singer a year and a half ago got exposed for raping at least 12 to 13 different women that we know of under the guise of like socially aware. And, you know, I think it's just the added context of like they were trying to hide behind certain messages while they're doing. I mean, it just kind of turned me off from listening to their music. But I also say that, and one of my favorite punk bands I've been listening to lately, the band name's kind of funny, Leftover Crack. Their lead guy has been accused of like abusing his girlfriend, but I guess when you have lyrics about smoking crack and stealing out of train cars, like, what do you expect?
Well, remember, As I Lay Dying, their lead singer Tim Lambesis got arrested because he tried to hire somebody to kill his wife.
Yep. And up until just recently, like, they got back together and were playing shows up until recently. There's a lot I separate the art from the artist from. And I'm willing to admit, like, my radar for some of that stuff is inconsistent. But I guess for me, I guess it just depends on if I've had a prior history with it. Like I mentioned with Jerry Lee, like, I did not know about the marriage situation before I already knew some of his songs when I was little. So I guess that's kind of how I have dealt with it. It's like, well, I've already listened and grew up with them and have liked them. And, you know, he's important to the overall historical context of rock. So.
Absolutely. So I'm going over some of the names that Pat just listed down. Like, okay, I can absolutely say like Dan Schneider on that list. Yeah, fuck what Dan Schneider did to those poor people. But will I still find myself watching a 90s episode of All That? maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely not the clip of Dan Schneider with Amanda Bynes in the hot tub, but
And I guess if we want to go with like actors too, like That 70s Show is my absolute favorite sitcom of all time.
oh, that's right. I know who you're going to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, and Danny Masterson, I mean, he's been convicted, proven rapist. And then of course you have everybody but Eric Foreman like writing support letters, and it's like, that rubs me the wrong way a little bit, but
Yeah, Mila and Ashton were writing support letters for him. It's like, oh no, he did this, but he's not that bad of a.
Yeah.
Like, no, he got convicted of raping women. He absolutely deserves what he got.
yeah.
But now you're right. Anytime we watch That 70s Show, and I probably have watched that series all the way through at least once since the conviction. And in the back of your mind, you're always reminded, God damn it, Danny Masterson. Stephen Hyde was our favorite character, and you fucked it up for us.
He was my favorite.
I mean, okay, yeah, you put down Tiger Woods. Like, okay, yeah, he cheated on his wife, but that's really nothing.
Showed too many women his Tiger Wood.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he did. And again, how would you do that? Because he had a hot blonde wife. Like, you had that, and you need to show your Tiger Wood to other women? Going over the list, like, okay, and then again, some of these people that you listed, Pat, like Robert De Niro and Whoopi Goldberg, they just have different political beliefs than we did. And, it sucks because nowadays you have idiots like Joy Reid saying that it's okay to disown a family member and not see them for the holidays because they voted for Trump. Like, no, I don't care who you voted for. I'll still have you for Christmas.
Exactly.
Like, political beliefs, that should not, that I don't care what you believe in. Like, pretty much if you voted for Trump, you already know that most people in Hollywood are bleeding liberals. So you let it slide. You're like, okay, they believe what they believe. My favorite wrestling podcaster, his name is Jim Cornette. He hates Donald Trump, like worse than Robert De Niro. And yet when he does his anti-Trump rants on his episodes, I still find them funny and entertaining, even if I don't agree with it. So look, I don't care what you believe politically. I don't care what you believe religiously. I mean, most people in heavy metal and the punk world are agnostic or atheists, and even use anti-religious themes in their songs. Doesn't do anything to me.
Yeah, I love Bad Religion. I mean, that's the whole aesthetic of the band right there.
There you
just
go.
Tell from the name.
Well, Slayer has 2 albums. One of them was called God Hates Us All. The other one is called Christ Illusion. And Tom Araya is a practicing Catholic.
Yeah.
So,
but to write a song called God Hates Us All, I mean, how is he Christian?
Because they just took it as, it's just a cool title.
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't sound very Christian-y.
But Slayer is not a Christian band.
Yeah. It does sound pretty cool when he's screaming it though. Like in that song, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fun song. But anyway, it's like, so we've gone over people that have gotten in trouble for RAPE, people that have legit murdered people. Like in the wrestling world, Chris Benoit, he'll never get any Hall of Fame recognition because of the murder suicide he did to his poor wife and kid.
Ish.
No.
Anytime he's brought up in the pro wrestling talks, whether it's somebody who knew him or somebody reviewing one of his matches or whatever show he won, it's always like, yeah, I was a fan of his work, but I can't enjoy it anymore because I can't stop thinking about what he did. So I'm sure you guys can think about people that have killed people and yet they're still followed.
Yeah. I mean, Vince Neil from Motley Crue is kind of one I think of, like, pretty much off the top of my head. I hung out with this one guy. One of my favorite pop punk bands is called Mest, and the lead singer is a guy named Tony Lovato. Now it later was found that he was found like in self-defense, but he did kill a guy. But I mean, I still bump Cadillac every time it comes on.
I mean, how many people are still willing to watch Alec Baldwin knowing that he killed a stunt person accidentally? But all right. So any other examples that you guys would like to bring up before we wrap this topic up?
What about Randy Quaid and TJ Miller and Jonathan Majors?
Okay, Jonathan Majors, yeah, he got in trouble for beating up his wife, and then he no longer is Kang the Conqueror. Some of these people that you listed, Pat, they're not what R. Kelly did. They're not what Danny Masterson did.
Yeah.
No,
They're
but
not. They're not what Jeffrey Jones got in trouble for.
no, but didn't they said or did some things that got in trouble with the law or something?
But we're talking about things that you would just absolutely find unforgivable.
Oh, I don't know.
No, that's fine. Like you were talking about, oh, well, I don't agree with their political opinion, so I'm not a big fan of theirs as a result of it. And that's power to you. You can say that.
Yeah.
We're not going to bash you for saying stuff like that.
No.
All right. So as we wrap this up, guys, any other examples?
Let me see. Did we mention Drake Bell by any chance?
Well, remember we've already talked about the stuff that happened to him on the Nickelodeon
Oh, right.
podcast.
Lindsay Lohan and Will Ferrell, then, I guess.
Okay, what did they do?
Lindsay Lohan did some drug substance abuse, I think. I think she was also got some liberal views. Same with Will Ferrell, although Will Ferrell never did drugs, not that I know of, but he's a huge liberal.
So everyone that has abused drugs, you're not going to follow them? Everyone that has liberal beliefs, you're not going to follow them? Is that what we're saying?
No, I'm still going to watch their works, but I don't agree with what they did was right.
I guess we have mentioned enough examples there. Like I've given my example of I'm normally somebody who can absolutely never support somebody convicted of pedophilia, but yet I will still be fine watching Jeffrey Jones when he's in any of the movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
Same.
But it sucks when I've had to have those exceptions, and DJ listed his exceptions.
Yeah.
So we kind of have all listed our exceptions when it comes to separating the art from the artist.
Yep.
Yeah.
With that said, the diner is closed. Stay tuned for the next edition of Burgers and Fries at the Diner. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more rants on pop culture, more podcast episodes on this. And of course, as always, I'm Desert Coyote 22. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Peace out.